The Jets are 1-5 after their fourth straight loss. QB Ryan Fitzpatrick pulled in the fourth quarter, but will start this weekend against the Ravens. And Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval has signed a bill for $750 million of public funding for a Raiders stadium in Las Vegas. The team still needs league approval, which wouldn't be requested until the new year. I'm Andrew Bogish.
The very best of whatever we come up with. It's the Best of the Doug Gottlieb Show. It's available on iTunes right now.
CBS Sports Radio.
It's Tuesday, and Key Sports and More is on the air. Dennis Miller along with Sports Director Brett Knudsen. We start with volleyball today, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. The district tournament taking place out at Crystal River High School yesterday, and a couple of exciting matches taking place. Not good news, though, for the Lecanto Panthers as they lose their district quarterfinal match to Nature Coast in 5 sets. They led 2-1, but end up losing 3-2, so their season comes to an end as they lose to Nature Coast. And Citrus High also sees their volleyball season come to an end as they fall to third-seeded Weeki Wachee. So they were out in 3 sets, which now sets up the semifinals in the 6A7 tournament. They will be played tonight out at Crystal River, and it's the top 4 seeds. All 4 have made it into the semifinals. You'll have Hernando taking on Weeki Wachee at 5:30 tonight. That's number 2 versus number 3. And the top seed in the host, Crystal River, will take on Nature Coast at 7 p.m. The 2 winners, of course, will move on to the district championship game, which will take place coming up on Thursday night out at Crystal River. The 2 winners tonight also know that they will move on into the state volleyball tournament. So big night of volleyball taking place. If you're buzzing around town and want to check it out, should be fun to see the top 4 teams in 6A7 go at it. The District 2A4 tournament taking place as well down at Hernando Christian Academy, and it was a big win for the 7 Rivers Christian School Warriors volleyball team as they knocked off the hosts. Actually, they knocked off Lakeside Christian at HCA in 3 straight sets. So they move into the semifinals today at 5:30 with a win. They would also move into the state playoffs. So that's how the volleyball postseason goes in the area. So best of luck tonight to Crystal River and 7 Rivers Christian as they try to advance in the state volleyball playoffs.
You know, we often talk how tough football is, right, and all these other sports, but I tell you what, you go out and watch one of these girls' volleyball games, they are tough.
Yeah,
man.
Fun to watch, too.
Fun to watch, and there's no mercy from that floor. I tell you what, hardwood floor, or whichever kind of floor they're using at the gym they happen to be at, they have relatively small padding, very little padding that they use, and they're taking some tough spills, but they're tough.
Yeah, should be fun night. So, like I said, if you're heading out, Crystal River High School, the host of the district volleyball tournament for the girls. So this is a big night. The 2 winners know that they're going to be in the state tournament coming up in just a week or so. So best of luck to all the teams tonight.
All right. There's so much talk today about cheating in politics. There's talk now of cheating in sports again between the LA Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs. Did you see this story?
I did not, no.
They're saying the Cubs stole signs during their last game.
Didn't help. They lost 1-0.
Yeah. So, you know.
So, I mean, look, that's it kind of depends who you talk to about it. I've seen some folks, longtime baseball guys, will tell you that look, that's sort of part of the game. It happens all the time. Runners at second base, they see the sign from the pitcher, they try to figure it out, and they'll make some sort of move from second base so the hitter knows if they're throwing him a faster curve, inside, outside, whatever it is. I mean, that sort of stuff has happened a lot during baseball. And it seems like it'll dust up a couple times during the year. People will talk about it, and maybe it's magnified in the playoffs. But and and there's some hitters that have said, I don't care to know what. It's just too confusing if you're trying to tell me what they're going to be throwing me. I just will trust my instincts. I'm going to try to see the rotation of the ball and see the seams and hit it. So,
well, it's
could be gamesmanship.
It's really not a rule that's to be broken. I mean, it's kind of an unwritten thing among teams, right?
Yeah, one of those goofy baseball unwritten rule things that will catch someone's ire for a little while and then move on. I mean, it's sometimes I think it's done by teams to get the opponent overthinking it. You know, and maybe that's the case. I don't know. But look, it's you hear about it all the time, and I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't know why everyone would be bent out of shape over it. Because look, if you're stealing signs, good for you. If you can figure out what they're going to throw you and then you can hit it, good for you. But I don't know why the Cubs find or why the Dodgers think the Cubs did it. I don't know what their basis is for that.
Yeah, what's the big deal? Well, anyway, American League Championship Series, Cleveland. They take a 3-0 lead with their victory last night, 4-2 over Toronto. What did you think Toronto was better than this?
Well,
or
yeah,
the Cleveland Indians are really that good?
Well, I think what is the surprising? I mean, you're surprised that it's 3-0 because this is the American League Championship Series. Toronto is a very good baseball team. The surprising part is the fact that Toronto just is not scoring any runs. They're just that offense is dormant. And remember, this is a Cleveland Indian team that is minus 2 of their top starters. So they're depleted in the starting pitching staff. And then last night, Trevor Bauer, their starter, only pitches 2/3 of an inning because remember he got his finger sliced by playing with a drone the other day. I think 11 stitches, and he had to come out of the game. Didn't even finish the first inning, so they had to go 8 1/3 innings with their bullpen last night. In Toronto, just offensively, was rendered useless. And that's the thing about the baseball playoffs that you either love or hate depending on who you are. I mean, you have such a long regular season, and in an instant, it seems like it's over. Toronto has played really 3 average or below average games, and their season's about to come to an end. And it's that part is hard, but you can't have lengthy series this time of year. I mean, it's a 4 out of 7, and if a team gets hot, I mean, you see it all year long. I mean, teams go through ebbs and flows of a season. You may win 7 out of 9, you may lose 6 out of 8 at some point during the season. You just hope it doesn't happen at the wrong time. And for Toronto, I mean, the way they blew through Texas and the way they dominated the Rangers, you felt like they were the favorites coming into the series. As I said, Cleveland had starting pitching issues, we thought, but they've quieted Toronto's bats, and it's the one thing about baseball that through all of these years and all of the changes and everything you do, the one thing stands true. If you just pitch better than the other team, you're going to win, and that's the way it is. Clayton Kershaw the other night for the Dodgers was better than the Chicago Cubs, and they won 1-0. Cleveland has pitched better than Toronto, and as good as Toronto's offense is, good pitching can shut it down in a heartbeat. And they've had a lot of very good pitching. And by the time we get to 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, the Cleveland Indians may find themselves already in the World Series with a 4-game sweep. That's pretty shocking, if you ask me.
Well, here we go again with being politically correct, as that game was coming up against Toronto last night between the Blue Jays and the Indians. Are you ready for this? Chief Wahoo, there's a big brouhaha over, the Cleveland Indians. This goes back to like the Atlanta Braves, the Washington Redskins. Uh, the broadcaster for the Blue Jays has already stated he's not going to refer to Cleveland as the Indians, as an indigenous activist. He's challenging the Indians' use of Wahoo in an Ontario court Monday.
Well, maybe he should just refer to the team from Cleveland as the American League champions, because that's what he's about to do after today.
About to have,
So I mean, he didn't have to call the Indians. He can say this afternoon as he's signing off the air for the final out of the season in Toronto, the Cleveland American League champions, if he wants to do that.
It all prompts Major League Baseball to come out with a big statement yesterday. Major League Baseball appreciates the concerns of those that find the name and the logo of the Cleveland Indians to be offensive. We would welcome a thoughtful and inclusive dialogue 100 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Cleveland has, and look, I'm not a Native American, so I certainly cannot speak to the individual tribes and Native American and how they view various nicknames. All I can tell you is I know that Cleveland, to I don't know if it was to ease tensions or whatever the reason, they have moved away from the Chief Wahoo logo in terms of their hats. It used to be always be on their hats. They have removed it from their hats. Now they just have a simple red C on there. And is that enough? I don't know. I think what we've seen in recent years started with the NCAA, and it hasn't quite leaked up into the professional ranks, obviously, because you mentioned the Braves and the Indians and the Redskins. The NCAA mandated you cannot use an Indian nickname, or if you did, you had to receive the blessing of the tribe of Indians that you were using their name. Florida State is a prime example. They received the blessing of the Seminole tribe of Indians, and they continue to use the nickname. North Dakota is the other opposite of that, the Fighting Sioux. There were two groups of Sioux in the area. One said, sure, use our nickname. You're using it to promote the university, and we think it's a good thing. The other said no, so they've had to change their name. They're going to change their name. They've been just the University of North Dakota for a couple of years, and now they're changing their nickname officially because the NCAA was going to take away their opportunity to host postseason events. So that's why those changes were made in college athletics. When it comes to professional sports, I think you're talking about it's a little more difficult to exact some change. We've seen what's happened with Daniel Snyder and the Washington Redskins, and he just refuses to do it. Not going to happen. The Indians, to me, not a whole lot has been, at least media-wise, has been pumped into it as being a huge controversy. Um, Same thing with the Braves. You don't hear much in the NHL about the Chicago Blackhawks. So I'm like I said, I can only speak to it would appear some of the generic nicknames like Indians and Braves and Blackhawks. Blackhawks, and I do believe was a Blackhawk tribe.
It was a tribe, yeah.
And so that may have something to do with it as well. But it's
Where does it stop?
well,
I mean,
yeah.
hey, let's think about this. What if everybody up north objected to the Yankees?
The Yankees, yeah. And that's
Is that next on the agenda?
that's the thing. You could start with that, and I mean, the Padres obviously are named after,
Yeah.
a religious figure. Does that upset somebody? I mean,
The New Orleans Saints.
yeah.
Maybe you'll have a group of Muslims object to that.
Yeah, and then I mean, at some point, is PETA going to get involved because we are objectifying animals in the use of nicknames?
Get rid of the Dolphins.
Yeah, can't do that. We need to help save the Rays in this area. Don't want to call them the Rays. I mean, so I understand we're joking about some of that. I mean, and I understand that the Native Americans and there is an issue, but it's this is just my personal opinion, and feel free to beat me when you see me. But I mean, to me, a name like the Indians and the Braves is a very generic, broad stroke brushed nickname, and like I said, I'm not a Native American, so I can't tell you that it offends me because I'm not one that would have to answer that question. But
This
it
is
just
getting
it seems a little ridiculous.
So ridiculous. On our TV side of our business.
Especially what you're talking about, Dennis, with him saying, if there are announcers, and you've heard it because you're a Redskin fan, that calls them Washington, the NFL team in Washington. They don't want to use that name. If you want, if that's what feeds you, and that is something that is important to you, maybe you have some Native American blood in you or relatives, or that's your cause. Great. If that's what you want to do, you don't have to say the nickname. I have zero problem with that whatsoever. But to turn this into a legal matter, to me is
it's ridiculous.
That is putting the attention on me. You're not trying to really promote anything. That's the part where you're going way too far.
I agree with you there. Okay, before before we get too deep into politics, we need to take a break. We'll be back with s'mores sports.
I'll have some s'mores.
Okay, pass them this way. I got the campfire going over here. It's his computer. I'm fixing
blow
to set
up at any moment.
I'm fixing to set this sucker on fire.
Is that a Samsung Galaxy?
Yes.
Blow up.
I won't even have to try to set it on fire. Okay, back in the flash.
You got lighter fluid in the rag. There it goes.
Find your style at Badcock and get 20% off your entire purchase when you open a new Badcock account. Plus, get $200 in free accessories with your qualifying purchase. And upgrade to a king-size mattress set for the price of a queen and save up to $689.90. With no credit refused, Badcock makes it easy. Hurry into your local Badcock and get 20% off your entire purchase when you open a new Badcock account now through October 24th. See store for complete details.
The 13th Annual Friends of Homosassa Springs Wildlife Park Haunted Tram Rides is coming up quick on Thursday, October 27th to Sunday, October 30th. A donation of $5 for age 13 and up and $3 for children over 3 to 12 includes a Halloween costume contest on Friday and Saturday, along with a fun slide, refreshments, and the haunted tram rides each night. The 13th Annual Friends of Homosassa Springs Wildlife Park Haunted Tram Rides. An evening of family fun. So, one of those bargain roofers hurts himself on the job. Who pays? You do. Because his low prices don't include insurance. You think you got a bargain? Not. Bull Rice Roofing has been there for you for over 45 years. With quality roofing from a family-owned and operated business with only employees, not subcontractors. Bull Rice Roofing. Dependable, reasonable, and as easy to remember as a bowl of rice. Bull Rice Roofing. 628-7445. CCC 025464.
I've been teaching organic chemistry for the last 17 years, so I'm pretty good with complex calculations. But when I started thinking about my retirement, I was pretty stumped. Luckily, I have TIAA as my financial partner. Together, we retrosynthetically analyzed my financial future, which is organic chem speak for we figured it out. Your personal success takes a financial partner who values it as much as you do. Learn more at TIAA.org.
A rise back to the top.
The Gators have won the SEC Eastern Division title.
With a championship mentality restored.
Going to score! It's a touchdown! He's hit, and down he goes on the pylon. He's in! Oh, my!
The defending SEC East champion Florida Gators battle around the Southeast and inside the swamp this season. Catch every game and listen all season long right here on your home for Florida Gator football.
This is Mick Hugh. You're listening to CBS Sports 104.3.
All right, I know you did not get to watch the big game last night, but we got to talk about it. Arizona just embarrassed Ryan Fitzpatrick of the Jets. And Geno Smith didn't do a whole lot better. Comes into the game with the Jets trailing 28-3 and promptly throws a pick. Are the Jets just hopeless this year?
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
1-5 says it all as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can take 2 or 3 weeks of a season, I think, and maybe throw it out due to various things. But you know, you're 6 games into it and you're 1-5. Yeah, not good. And you know, this just goes to with what the man. The Patriots are blessed by being a very good team, but they also play in a division that is just dysfunctional as all get out. The Jets are bad. Thank goodness Buffalo's making it at least moderately interesting. The Dolphins are about as hard to figure out as you can try to.
Up one week, down the next.
Yeah. So you know, you got Buffalo hanging around in that division, but certainly it's New England's for the taking. Arizona, a team that's now 3-3, but you know, even that game was not overly impressive, right? I mean, it was not overly impressive even for Arizona. They got work to do too. It's just it's an interesting season in the NFL with a whole lot of average teams. Really, it comes just a lot of teams that don't really impress you. Obviously, New England is right near the top. You have to be impressed with what you've seen from from Minnesota and Dallas, but gosh, it just doesn't it just seem like there's a lot of teams that are very, very average. We expect Arizona and Carolina to be good, Green Bay to be good. We're not seeing it. Perhaps the Raiders are on their way up. Denver is off to a bit of a slow start. Very interesting stuff. We'll see.
We'll see. Yep. Uh, the 49ers. I'm going to talk about them for a little bit. Who should be their quarterback? They've got now Colin Kaepernick has come back in. Is he really going to do any better than what they had before?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've said he's going to be the starter, right? He's going to be the starter for the game against the Buccaneers.
At least he grabs attention for him.
Yeah, I mean,
for political reasons, not for what he does on the field.
And what he did on the field was extremely average last week, so that should make the Buccaneers happy, I would think, right? That should make them very, very happy. But yeah, you know, it's they're a really, really bad football team. I mean, that's the one thing we have seen for sure. They are a very, very bad football team and have a lot of work that needs to be done in San Francisco. Chip Kelly is going to be out of his second job real quick, it looks like. And so he's going to have to get that turned around. And they were a mess when he took over, but it's even more of a mess. And that's where the impetus is on the Buccaneers, obviously, to go out there and get a win. You know, this is a beaten up San Francisco Giant team, San Francisco 49er team, sorry, that is you know, not playing very good football, and you want to keep that going if you're the Bucks. You want to continue their misery. Colin Kaepernick has not played a lot of football lately. Did not play well last week. You're going to have to get some pressure on him. He's not comfortable throwing the football. He didn't show a whole lot running the football either. Yeah, they've got to come out there and obviously play a very, very good game. And it's a winnable road game. Not easy to win on the road in the NFL, but it's a very winnable road game if they go out there and play like we've seen them play a couple times on the road already with wins at Carolina and Atlanta.
Well, let's see. NBA is underway now, just getting cranked up. Too hard to tell who's going to be at the top, who's going to be at the bottom. Well, I guess maybe we could still say Orlando could be close to the bottom. They play Miami tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I mean we'll have to see where it takes us. I mean, obviously, it's a new regime, new head coach, and you know, I don't know where it's gonna, you know, it's all gonna take us moving forward. But it could be a slow and painful rebuild. I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, can OKC recover from losing Durant? You think?
I don't see how. Right? I mean that's they can still be good, but it's just that you know you're talking about the rest of the West is so good, right? I mean, there's so many quality teams that are still out there that it is hard to imagine them without Durant doing what they did last year and you know challenging Golden State a little bit. I mean, you know, this to me again, you know, Golden State looks like the team to beat. I don't know if they're going to put up, you know, 73 wins like they did a year ago, and they don't have to because, you know, I think that team wanted to do that. That was sort of the stated goal at the start of the year. They felt that they could do that. That was their challenge. I think this year, after losing in the finals, bringing in Kevin Durant, I think this year is just more about playing good basketball and building towards the playoffs. If that means 70 wins, if it means 68 wins, 65 wins, maybe it is 70 wins. I mean, I don't know, but I think what Golden State learned was it was a fun grind to set that record, and it was an amazing season, but it ended a win short for them, and that feels very very empty, I would imagine. And the regular season, you know, we all know doesn't mean that much. It's for playoff seeding. Home court advantage doesn't always mean that much. So I think you'll see a different approach from Golden State this year. You know, they're going to have to try to figure things out. They've got obviously, I mean, you know, four legit all-star players. They look like that they are a super team that may not be able to be beat, but do you have enough opportunities for every guy to shoot? Durant and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And, that's going to take some time, obviously. And now I say that they may jump out 15-0 again. I don't know, but I think for Golden State, this is all about what happens in May and June and whether they get, like I said, 60, 70 wins. It's just figuring out what works for them with their new alignment. Because remember, San Antonio, I mean, they lose Tim Duncan. Are they going to take a step back? I mean, I wouldn't bet against Greg Popovich, but it's hard to believe they're going to be right up there again. I mean, Oklahoma City's got a chance, but that how can you if they weren't good enough to beat them with Durant? How can you think they're going to be better without Durant? Especially when he's on the other team.
Good point. Good point.
It seems like it should not make sense, and I still think Golden State is the team to make it out of the West, but anything can happen. Injuries, change, all kinds of things.
I think the only hope for the rest of them is that you put all these superstars on a team, and now you got the possibility of the superstars not getting along like the other team did.
Sometimes it doesn't it doesn't work. I think that I go back to that Philadelphia Eagle football team they put together a handful of years ago that just was a disaster. It worked in Miami, right? I mean, it worked in Miami, and I think you'll figure out a way in Golden State. I think you've got a very good coach in Steve Kerr, and I think you've got very understanding superstars in Durant. I mean, he played with Westbrook. He knows how to share shots. I mean, he did. Some people say sometimes he deferred to Westbrook too much. I think Curry and Thompson and Green have played together. Those are three guys that can legitimately lead a team by themselves if they had to. I mean, we saw when Steph Curry went out how great Klay Thompson was. So, you're just adding another piece to the mix, and it's more about your willingness to have to do less to help the team do more. And it would appear that coming off of what I'm sure was a bitter loss to Cleveland, I think they'll be on board with it. They seem like a group that doesn't mind it. I mean, yeah, Steph Curry jacks up some threes from outer space that you just are like, why? And he'll still do it, right? I mean, he can do it. It's
can do it. Yeah.
There are nights you can do that, but it'll be interesting to see how they play. Midway through the season when they have a game against San Antonio. Midway through the season when they go to Oklahoma City, when they play one of the better teams, and it's not a night where they can just show up and know they're going to win. That'll be how they handle those games and what Steve Kerr does. But I think they've got a very good, laid back group of superstars that all are in it for the same reason, and that is we've done it individually. We've established ourselves individually as a star in this league. What we want is the championship, and I'm sure that was kind of the attitude of Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson was, man, that stunk. The year before when we won it, that was great. This year, no. So if we need Durant, let's get him, and we'll do what it takes to make it work. If that means less points, less shots, maybe not an MVP award, okay, we'll do it, and we'll see what happens.
Well, at the beginning of the season, I thought, more of a team effort. As the team wore on, or as the season wore on, you heard more and more and more about Curry and how important he was to the success of that team. How much does that play on the rest of them's head? I don't know.
Yeah, Klay Thompson's handled it for a few years now. I think
Sure.
Draymond Green. I think they all understand that, and that's the thing about the good thing to me about an 82 game regular season. I mean, it's a long season, and there's back-to-back games, 3 games in 4 nights, stuff like that. You're going to have your time, and you're going to have your game where you're going to be the guy we're looking to, just because that's the long season, or that's because that's how the opponent chooses to play you. And you're going to have your night to be the star, and there's going to be other nights you're going to defer. And if you're willing to do that as a team, it's going to equate to a lot of wins. And it certainly seems like they have a group that is unselfish and willing to do that. Time will only tell, but I together because there's just not enough shots to go around. I think they'll do okay. I'm not worried about Golden State.
The Atlanta Hawks still have Dwight Howard on board, and I don't think as long as he's there, they're going to be anything.
Well, you're going uphill anyway because you're battling obviously the NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers,
the Cavaliers,
and Toronto's a good team too. So I think you've got both those things working against you, and yeah, it's just not. It's not set up for Atlanta. They had a little window, and it appears that window's closing.
All right, let's take another quick break, and we will continue our discussion on Key Sports and more. Stay with us right here on CBS Sports Radio, 104.3. Why Brashear's Pharmacy is the Chronicle's Best of the Best award winner. Brashear's Pharmacy is your independent, hometown pharmacy where your needs and well-being are top priority. The professionals at Brashear's Pharmacy will answer all your questions and concerns about prescriptions. They provide vaccines, stock a full line of now vitamins and supplements, and carry unique gift items for any occasion. Brashear's Pharmacy, where you save time and money. 2 convenient locations, downtown Inverness and just off Lecanto Highway, Lecanto.
Did you know that over 100 people choke to death on ballpoint pens each year? Or that the average home wastes nearly 12,000 gallons waiting for hot water each year? We can't do anything about the first one, but we can solve that last problem. That is, of course, if you like saving water, time, and money, just use a hot water recirculating system from Mike Scott Plumbing. It gives you faster hot water where you need it and uses your existing hot water heater, so it's a no-brainer. Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it. 237-2888. That's 237-2888. No ballpoint pens were used during making this commercial.
You dream of your home style for the holidays with the beauty seen on magazine covers. But where do you start? Bush Home Services offers a simple solution. Design brilliant exteriors from their endless combination of special lighting, wall-sized wreaths, religious and moving creations, as well as tremendously lit trees. They install, take down, and store your custom designs for you. Create your holiday dream home. Call Bush Home Services, 621-7700. Fall savings time has arrived at Citrus Kia Crystal River. 2016 Citrus Kia Optima Hybrid, 0% APR for 66 months, plus with $2,500 in bonus cash. 2016 Citrus Kia Soul EV with $3,000 in bonus cash. And at Citrus Kia, you've got guaranteed credit approval. Citrus Kia Crystal River Highway 19 and 44 West. Online 24/7 at citruskia.com. Take delivery from retail stock by October 31st, 2016. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for details.
Find your style at Badcock and get 20% off your entire purchase when you open a new Badcock account. Plus, get $200 in free accessories with your qualifying purchase. And upgrade to a king-size mattress set for the price of a queen and save up to $689.90. With no credit refused, Badcock makes it easy. Hurry into your local Badcock and get 20% off your entire purchase when you open a new Badcock account now through October 24th. See store for complete details.
Don't miss CBS Sports Radio 104.3's live high school football coverage each and every Friday night. In addition to all the play-by-play action, you can get regional scores for every game as they happen. And you can watch live on our YouTube live stream sponsored by Bowler Rice Roofing, Homosassa. Don't miss CBS Sports Radio 104.3 live high school football each and every Friday night, thanks to each of our high school football game sponsors. Love Chevy Inverness, Love Honda and Love Motorsports in Homosassa, and Mike Scott Plumbing, Hernando.
Third period for Key Sports and more. And where do you want to go from here, Mr. Knutson?
Well, let's talk a little bit about college football and the no decision, the inside-out, upside-down, sideways workings of the Big 12 football conference. It's just disastrous the way they have treated the schools, I think, that were, 11 of them made the final cut that they were going to. It just, the Big 12 needs to just go away. They just need to go away and cease to exist as a conference. I'm tired of Texas and Oklahoma battling one another to see who is the biggest bully on the block and caring only about themselves. And, if we're going to get to these 16-team super conferences, let's get rid of the Big 12 and just use the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, and the Pac-12. Make all of those your super conferences. There'll be, 64 teams. and because I'm just tired of what the Big 12 has done. It's just they don't know what they want to do. They keep trying to figure it out to make themselves look better. They're going to get left out of the college football playoff again this year, so that will be 2 out of the first 3 years they don't get a team in the playoff. They're going to have a championship game this year, even though they've already played a round robin regular season where um, the 10 schools that you played up the other 9 opponents. We're going to expand. We have to expand. We're going to get it done before the season starts at the end of August. Well, no, we're going to hold off, but we're going to expand, and we want everyone to send in, the reasons why, and make your presentation, and the schools do all this research and put together all these presentations, and then we decide, well, we're just not going to do it. As a group, we met, and we realized that this isn't right. Well, then how come 3 months ago you met as a group and decided this is something you had to do? They are completely dysfunctional, and the leadership of the universities and the athletic departments, for whatever reason, appears to be bleeding down to the football field because the football isn't very good either. Right now, the best team in the conference, as we look at it, is maybe the most dysfunctional university in America, which is Baylor, and they don't know what the heck they're doing to protect the students on their campus from these athletes. They've had to get rid of a coach. It's a disaster from start to finish with that conference, and somebody really just needs to torch it, to just get rid of it all. If whoever, I don't care who you are, if you're the SEC or you're the Big 12, or I mean the Pac-12, if you want Oklahoma and you want Texas, bring them in and let's go. Let's put them in a real conference. Let them earn some things. Let them not always be the big fish in little pond, and go do something, because this is just it's ridiculous, and I'm so tired of them holding universities hostage that are just begging to get in this group of five. I mean, USF, UCF, Houston, Cincinnati, Memphis. Just go down the list. These schools that never had a chance. There was never going to be expansion, and it makes you ill. At least it makes me ill. The Big 12, because it used to be when it was the Big Eight, and then when it was the Big 12. It was a pretty good football conference. They had some really good schools. They had played really good brand of football. It is just awful. And like I said, I would love for it to just go away. The two uh, big boys driving the bus, Texas and Oklahoma. Oh, by the way, are borderline putrid in football right now, and so I mean they should be sick that Baylor and TCU are just having them for lunch in terms of who's a better program right now in the Big 12. So it's unfair to the smaller schools. What USF and UCF and these other schools need to focus on is let's figure out where we're going. And I think everybody truly agrees and believes we are headed to 16-team super conferences. So let's discount the Big 12 for a moment, and let's figure out what you can do. I mean, there are 14 schools in the ACC. There's a couple of openings there, right? There are 14 schools in the Big Ten. There's a couple of openings there. That leaves four. There's four more openings, two more openings, I'm sorry, in the Pac-12. That leaves you six, and I mean, whatever happens with the Big 12. Let's figure out a way that when we start talking about expansion, if you're UCF and USF, you put your best foot forward to get into one of these super conferences, whether it's the SEC, the ACC, however it works out. Move towards that, and I would assume behind the scenes, the athletic department, the athletic director, they understand what's going on, the writing on the wall, and maybe that's their larger picture focus. And because that's where you're going to have to go is that's the next step. And I don't know if that's the final step, but that's a pretty big one. And if you don't make it into one of those super conferences as one of the elite 16 in a conference, then the whole scope of what you're doing with your football program with these universities changes, and it could be completely different look when all this happens.
It's big money, and it's
Huge money.
networks that are determining all this.
Yeah, I mean, that's part. This just shows you how the Big 12 operates, and I'm sure what you're talking about, Dennis, is the fact that the networks are now going to pay them not to expand, right?
Right.
That's what it came
ESPN
down
and
to.
Fox.
Yeah.
They're the reasons that is not expanding.
They had a clause in a contract that they were going to pay the conference if they expanded X amount of dollars. ESPN and Fox did not want more inventory of games in that conference. They didn't want to add the teams. So they came up with a way, okay, we'll pay you to not have teams instead of paying you to have teams. Let's get rid of this clause in the contract and we'll move forward. The Big 12 said, yes, our hands are out. Please go ahead and give us some money. We're good. And I mean, so that they are. Nothing in college athletics is surprising. So this doesn't, shock me, but it's just so blatantly obvious that the conference could care less, and they are at the whim of the TV deals and what is best to put more money in their pockets. They don't care about the member institutions.
If you go from 12 members, from 10 members up to 12, you got a smaller slice of the pie too.
Yeah,
whatever pie it happens to be.
And they wanted to do it to help get them into the college football playoff and have the championship game. Of course, the NCAA changed the rule with 10 teams. You now can't have a championship game. The Big 12 pounded their chest for the last couple of years that, well, we've got a true champion because everybody plays everybody once, and whoever comes out on top is good. Well, except for when that team doesn't make the playoffs, then you decide that you want to have a championship game. So you're going to potentially have a team like Baylor, maybe, who goes undefeated, but then has to play somebody. They've already played in the regular season again in the championship, and if they lose, they have no chance. So it's just the Big 12 deserves the mess they're sitting in. They deserve it, and it's going to continue to be that way. Good for them because Oklahoma, Texas, like I said, they're driving this bus, and it is swerving all over the road, and they have no idea where it's going, and it's a disaster. But those schools are making money, and they don't care. They don't care about the Iowa States and the Kansas States and the Kansas of the world. It's irrelevant to them because they're making money. And guess what? If they decide we're done with the Big 12 and we want out, you're going to have conferences, throwing things at them to come. The Pac-12 will take Texas or Oklahoma in a heartbeat, and so they don't care that this would ruin most of the rest of the conference. What's TCU and Baylor and Texas Tech going to do? My gosh, what's Iowa State and Kansas State going to do? Who wants them, honestly, and they don't care. Conferences used to be to protect an area and your member institutions, and now it's just a free-for-all. And it's not just the Big 12. They've just gone about it so backwards and stupidly that they look like fools.
We didn't talk yesterday about the AP poll on college football and where the shuffles occurred. The Gators are up to number 15 now in the top AP 25, moving up. They only had one injury against Missouri. That was Davis. As far as I know, anyway. Are they good enough to be in the top 10?
No, I don't think they're a top 10 team right now. Now, certainly you earn your way up there. You beat Georgia, you go to South Carolina and win, and you end with a win at Florida State. That's going to put you in the top 10. Absolutely, that's going to put you in the top 10, and that's going to put you in the SEC championship game as well. So there's an excellent opportunity there if they can get it done. But not yet. I don't think who they beat, how they beat them, has done it yet. They still obviously get to go to LSU. So they can be a top 10 team. Absolutely. You go one loss through the SEC and make it to the SEC championship game, they'll be a top 10 team by then. But that's a lot of football left to be played for the Gators, and still some very good teams left on the schedule. Like I said,
Arkansas ain't going to be no pushover.
Yeah, that's the one going up to Fayetteville is one that I think sort of makes you nervous. We'll have to see. Then they still got to go to look at the end of their schedule now with the way this LSU thing worked out. November 5th, you go to Arkansas. You're home to South Carolina, who's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
November 19th, you're at LSU. Then a week later, you're at Florida State. I don't care. You can be Ohio State or Michigan. You got to go to Arkansas, LSU, and Florida State. That's 3 tough weeks. So they got some work to do.
Okay. Well, there's plenty more to come. Stay with us. This Key Sports and More continues.
Save about
luck on a new truck from Eagle Buick GMC. 2016 GMC Terrains from $199 a month. 2016 GMC Acadias from $299 a month. Select from hundreds of new trucks and SUVs at Eagle. New 2016 GMC Sierras. Every color, every model. Regular cabs, extended cabs, crew cabs, and diesels. Save over $6,000. Eagle Buick GMC is your GMC truck headquarters. Visit EagleBuickGMC.com or stop by US 19 in Homosassa.
For over 45 years, you've been able to find Bo Rice Roofing listed in the phone book. How many other companies are still listed along with them? Good question. Bo Rice Roofing has been there for you for over 45 years, with quality roofing from a family-owned and operated business with only employees, not subcontractors. Bo Rice Roofing, dependable, reasonable, and as easy to remember as a bowl of rice. Bo Rice Roofing, 628-7445, CCC 025464.
Protect yourself. Don't become a victim of unlicensed contractors. Citrus County Builders Association reminds you to use licensed contractors when building or repairing your home or business. CCBA can help.
Licensing is the law. Avoid penalties. Hire licensed contractors and suppliers who have knowledge. CCBA can help.
For referrals to local licensed contractors, contact the Citrus County Builders Association at 746-9028 or visit citrusbuilders.com. CCBA can help.
CCBA, your partner in building a better community.
If I were washed more often, I wouldn't be so cranky. Look, the dog gets more baths than I do. Yes, I'm talking about you. Children leave crumbs and soccer ball dirt all over my interior. It looks like a sand pit. You would think for a car this reliable, they would take me to get a bath. Do they realize they could keep me groomed year-round at Mr. B's Car Wash in Crystal River for less than $14 a wash? That's not even close to Fluffy's grooming bill. Oh, the humanity. Does this sound like your car? Treat your second most valuable possession to a full wash and vacuum at Mr. B's Car Wash, US 19 in Crystal River, your full-service auto detailing center. Oh, go bury a bone somewhere.
Citrus Sports and Apparel is your full-service custom screen printing and embroidery business located right here in the Crystal River Mall. They have trophies, plaques, and team uniforms for schools, organizations, and businesses, along with a variety of apparel and more. Customized screen printing is the most popular and cost-effective type of shirt printing, producing vibrant and bold designs that are perfect for promoting your business or charity. They can also create durable designs for your sports team, group events, and mud runs. Designing custom t-shirts is never a hassle. They make the screen printing process simple and provide their customers with a high-quality finished product in a short amount of time, made even faster with their state-of-the-art automatic screen press for better quality prints. They're committed to providing great service and great products for a great price. See for yourself why Citrus Sports and Apparel has been voted best of the best 10 years running. Citrus Sports and Apparel, making Citrus County look great since 2006 in the Crystal River Mall. 564-9402. Online at citrussportsandapparel.com. Make your Saturday, November 5th, a fun-filled day. Start by heading out to the Black Diamond Invitational Car Show from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. See the finest examples of antique, classic, and contemporary vehicles in a beautiful fairway setting. Afterward, head on over to the Kings Bay Rotary's 9th Annual Stone Crab Jam from 3 till 10 p.m. with live music from 3 stages, artists, vendors, a variety of foods featuring stone crab, all while enjoying an open street festival in downtown Crystal River. Discover why Brashears Pharmacy is the Chronicle's Best of the Best award winner. Brashears Pharmacy is your independent, hometown pharmacy where your needs and well-being are top priority. The professionals at Brashears Pharmacy will answer all your questions and concerns about prescriptions. They provide vaccines, stock a full line of now vitamins and supplements, and carry unique gift items for any occasion. Brashears Pharmacy, where you save time and money. 2 convenient locations, downtown Inverness and just off Lecanto Highway, Lecanto. Fourth and final period for Key Sports and More. Always a pleasure to welcome in Coach Ray Green of the Warriors.
That's right. Seven Rivers Christian closes out the regular season on Friday night as they will play host to the Villages. Seven Rivers coming off a nice win over Marine Christian on Friday night. Head coach Ray Green joining us, Coach, and certainly seems like it's been a couple of pretty good weeks for you and your team. Gotta like where they're headed as you are now just a week away from the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, I do. We seem to be finally improving these last couple of weeks and playing more complete. So it's a good sign heading into this time of the year when you need to be playing your best football.
This week, it's the Villages. I know one of the teams that you scheduled last year to beef up the schedule, get your young men ready for the postseason, and I would assume assume that this is the same this year. A week away from the playoffs, this is the kind of team you're going to see the next few weeks in the postseason. So a great opportunity for your kids on Friday night.
I think so. I mean, the difference was last year we really hadn't played anybody up to that point when we played the Villages, and fortunately for us this year, we played some real good teams and some bigger schools that are comparable and maybe even a little better than them. So, um, it's a new year, and we're a much different team than we were last year, and so were they. So we're looking forward to the challenge.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, a challenge of the Villages, but you've also got the biggest part of the season a week later. Does it change anything that you guys are going to do on Friday night? I know you don't have the luxury of just sitting 7, 8, 9 guys out of a game, but does it change at all, or do you just play full speed ahead Warrior football, and we hope everything comes out healthy and clean and ready to go on the 28th for the playoffs?
I mean, our guys, our guys are competitors, and from a coaching standpoint, we're going to sell out to win the game. Um, we need to continue to improve and continue to sharpen our execution on offense and defense. So there's really no way for us to sit back and try to save anything for the playoffs. We want to win this game, and our kids feel the same way, and we're going to do everything in our power to put ourselves in a position to win.
Talk about the way you played the last couple of weeks. Certainly, the offensive numbers have really jumped off the page, and I know that's part of that was playing the competition and the physically imposing teams you did. But other than that, what's changed offensively for you guys? Just more comfortable this year as you've gotten into it with obviously the ability to throw the ball a little bit more, or I know some injuries up front have been a part of that as well.
We got some kids back, and our kids do seem real comfortable in the system and what we're doing. Excuse me. We have been able to throw the ball with some success. Teams seem, um, they're not gonna spread out. They're gonna continue to keep, um, a maximum number of people in the box and try to stop our run game. And um, when we can protect Broughton um, for some time, he usually finds people down the field. And the last couple of games, we've had some pretty good numbers throwing the football, which helps our offense out a lot when you can grab a big chunk of yardage and not have to you know nickel and dime it, but you can grab 30 yards or 40 yards. Um, it helps you out a lot. You reduce the risk of a turnover or a penalty by having to drive that amount of yardage in multiple plays. So it's been good, and the kids are comfortable, and hopefully that'll continue as we move into the postseason. The ability to be a little bit more balanced. Um, when I use the word balance, I don't mean 50-50. I mean, for us, that means being able to throw the football with confidence and completing it when we want to.
Yeah, the way you've talked a couple times this year, Coach, balance to you might be what 90-10, maybe that 10%. But when you do throw out that 10%, you've got the confidence that you're going to make that play, and it's going to be a big play, right?
Yeah, I mean, we threw 15 passes last week, which is a lot for us. We completed 7 of them. I think we had 153 yards passing and 330 rushing, and that's probably about as good as it's going to get for us in terms of balance. 15 passes is I felt like I called 30. It's only 15, but for us that's balance, and hopefully we can continue to throw the ball around a little bit.
Uh, Obviously, we still this week to go. The game against the Villages on Friday night, but kind of assess this season as it has come together and where your football team is right now, a week away from the Sunshine State Athletic Conference playoffs, and where they were a year ago. I mean, I know the records are different, but there's a good reason why. Assess where they are and what the difference is between this year and last year, and why you think, or I'm assuming you think this team has got a very good chance to win a few playoff games.
Well, I mean, in looking at our schedule at the beginning of this year, we're about where I thought we would be. I really honestly thought we would be. I thought we would have a pretty good chance at being 5-2 um, at this point, and maybe finishing either with a 5 or 6 win record going into the last 2 games. Um, Last year, we even though we played a couple of games that were challenging in the first half, we really didn't have to win any games that I can remember in the fourth quarter. This year, we've had to win a few. We lost to Zephyr Christian in the fourth, but we beat Bishop, McLaughlin, and Zephyr Hills um, in the fourth quarter. So we've had some tight games that have gotten us ready, and hopefully the Villages this week will
I was going to say, last year there was a lot of talk about that, an opportunity for you guys to play a bigger school, a 4A school, FHSAA school. You've done that already a couple times this year, but that doesn't change. I would assume the importance and the kids' desire to get what a lot of people would still look at and say, wow, that's a big win for the program, even though we know you guys can compete. Do the kids still have that attitude that we're still the little guys on the block and we're looking to knock off somebody that everybody knows?
I don't know. I mean, our approach this week has just been, um, I don't know about last year. I know maybe we had too much emphasis on that last year. This year we've just tried to just prepare for the game, and this is what they do, and this is who they have, and I really haven't emphasized that part of this game. They're the next team on the schedule, and they're a great football team. We've played some great football teams this year, and you know, uh, we're just going to go out and try to play warrior football for 4 quarters, and hopefully we'll have a chance to be in it.
Business as usual for Seven Rivers Christian as they close out the regular season Friday night at home. They take on the Villages and they open up the SSAC playoffs coming up on October the 28th at home as well. Head coach Ray Green of Seven Rivers Christian. Coach, always enjoy the time. Best of luck on Friday night. We'll catch up with you tomorrow night for the Beef O'Brady's Player of the Week Awards.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Coach, very much. Ray Green and the Warriors, a big opportunity coming up on Friday night. I would suspect they're going to be in that ball game and have a very good chance to come out with a W. As he said, they've got big things planned on the horizon, 2A and FHSAA next year.
Oh, yeah. And again, a reminder, join us tomorrow night at Beef O'Brady's for the Player of the Week. Get there early. Get your seat because it's been packed every week. That's going to wrap it up for Key Sports and more. Thanks for having joined us, everybody. CBS Sports Radio 104.3 is your official home for Gator football, Gator basketball, Rays baseball, and high school sports. This is WYKE